I am definitely testing the weather resistance of this camera.
Hey YouTubers, this is Jacques from Jacques Photography, and a while back I did a video on my lens collection and my wish list. And in that wish list there were a lot of very expensive lenses. There was the 200mm f2, which is like, I think it's 6,000 bucks. But there were some affordable ones, and today I want to talk about one that I got. Here's what I bought, everybody. I bought the 16mm f1.4. It is now in the ownership of me, yours truly, and it's really cool. Now, I really want to go quickly across just a couple things. I just want to tell you why I bought this lens, why I bought this one. Now, I had the choice of getting either this or the 14mm f2.8. Now, right off the bat, I needed lots of opening, lots of light for two reasons. I just like to have the possibility of opening my lens instead of pumping up my ISO to get more light when I'm in a low light situation. One, also the bokeh. I wanted to have a prime lens in the wide angle range with great bokeh and great image quality. I have never had that in my whole life. I've always had zooms, because the thing with wide angles, what's funny about wide angles, it's a lot like a macro in the sense that because you don't use it a lot, you tend to go for compromises, but when you do use it, you need a good lens. That's the case in macro. You don't use macro that much when you're a videographer or a photographer in general, unless you're actually a macro photographer. But when you do need that macro, it's fun to have an excellent lens. And so what happens a lot of times, you tend to go towards zooms that have large focal ranges, but you lose in your F, you lose in your image quality, and this is a first for me to have a high quality fixed focal wide angle lens. The 16mm is nice. In APS-C, that means in full frame equivalent, it's roughly 24mm. So it is a relatively wide angle lens. It could be even wider, but you know, I don't want to go into fisheye and I don't want to go to ultra wide. Image quality, I'll show you in a second. And the fact that it's weather sealed for me was a real bonus, and I'm really happy that I have that, because I like to have stuff that's weather sealed, because I find myself running and gunning quite a bit. So enough of me talking about the lens. Why don't I just go out there and show you what I can shoot. They're stuck here because of some crazy guy, right? I have been all over the place. Still wanted to shoot, but I couldn't shoot because my daughter got a call. They had an actual death scare at her school. So, I mean it. They had a death scare at her school. One thing is for sure, I am definitely testing the weather resistance of this camera. Focus is fantastic, fast, quick, snappy. And as you can see, right now we're in the rain. It's resisting no problem. It's sure, it isn't a super downpour, but it's worth mentioning that it is weather resistant, so it's something that will be beneficial to people who go out in bad weather such as this. I did make a video a
There's so much rain on that lens. It is being funny. I did make a video a while back on how I wanted to stick to DSLR and not go to mirrorless, but Fuji made that transition for me very, very simple. And the X-T2 has really done the trick. So I just want to thank God that I got that special at 2400 Canadian with the battery grip. But it has been nothing but pleasure with me with the X-T2. I did have a little problems at the beginning with lockup, but everything's okay now.
If 6 turned out to be 9, I don't mind. I don't mind. Yes, here I am. This is Jacques Gaines. Thank you, Jacques, for that introduction. So we're going to pixel peep. We're going to start with the bad, and then we're going to go to the good. Now, the image I'm showing you right now in front of your face is a bit unfair, but it's the only way. I decided to blast it really in the sun to go get some purple fringing and see how the purple fringing affects this lens. And as you can see, if we go up here, there's a bit of chromatic aberration, but it's okay. It's not that bad. As I said before, I'm taking little thin lines, flashing it. This is direct sunlight. The sunlight is right there. So I just wanted to show you that there is some near the bottom and more towards the center. There's less and less of that purple stuff, but it is there. It still exists, mostly around the edges. Just wanted to point that out. You do what you want with that. I either arrange it in post if it is important, because most of the time it isn't important. It really isn't important. It doesn't affect me because I do not shoot directly in sunlight anyway. But I just wanted to show you that. There it is, purple fringing and chromatic aberration. And there's another thing I did want to show that shows the bad a bit more is down here. A tad. There is a level of distortion in this wide angle lens. But again, not a lot. It's not crazy. I'd have to do tests. I don't know with the actual charts. But, you know, there's other guys out there. They can do all that stuff for you. And you can see what's going on. Let's just get some basic general impressions. And here are some of the shots that I wanted to show you guys. Now, we're in RAW. We're not in JPEG. So you might see a little bit of blurriness. But I can load as much as I can. Let's load this shot in nice and close pixel peep. Okay. Now, here's where this lens starts to show off its capacity to do really cool, low depth, shallow depth of field stuff. Now, if you look at this in the middle right here, it is right in this area. It is tack sharp. That's some sharp ass images right there. And if you go to the back just here and just in the front here, it is blurry. We're talking about, I'd say roughly, this could be roughly 8 inches, maybe 6 inches, but you're already getting into nice bokeh with a wide angle. 6 inches is quite a bit. It is quite a bit. So I just wanted to show you that possibility of sharpness in the middle, bokeh in the back, depending on what your focus point is. There are a couple of other images I wanted to show. Yes, I wanted to show this one because of the amount of color. I just found it kind of cool that there was this purple flower still alive with everything around just dead. So I took my focus point, put it right on the flower, and as you can see, the flower comes out great. You can see right here that there's a lot less of that purpleness happening. We are in the sunlight, but again, before, maybe it's unfair, I really stuck that lens right in the light. But I just wanted to mention that. But you can see the colors here. I find these colors are great. They're subtle. The contrast between each color is just fantastic and great. Let's keep on going. Again, another one, shallow depth of field. This was a sculpture in one of the parks around there. And again, we're looking, I'm at 1.4. I'm really glued on this statue, and we're getting roughly 6 to 8 inches of depth of field. I took a picture of this because I wanted to see if there was any vignetting on the side. There's a tiny bit of vignetting in here. I don't know if you guys want to really get into the details of this. Is it worth mentioning? Depends to what extent you want to pixel peep and to what extent you want to take pictures, honestly. But there is a bit of darkness popping in on the sides here. I don't know if with the YouTube video you can see it. What is very odd is that it happens mostly at the top of the frame and less at the bottom. And I did expose this evenly to try to show what it could do. As you can see, this image is, let's go to the middle. You can see that's right on, focus point is right on and tack sharp. Let's go to the sides, see if there's any softness introduced. A little bit of softness introduced, a surprisingly low amount. Therefore, for actual sharpness of this lens edge to edge, it is amazing, amazing. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's amazing. So, tack sharp in the middle. We lose a bit of sharpness around here, and I'm wide open at 1.4. I noticed that the sharpness comes in at around the 8 and 5.6 levels. You start to get some really sharp stuff. At the end, at the very end, at 16, there's a tiny bit of diffraction, but again, totally negligible. So, vignetting. Edge to edge sharpness, big time, kicks ass in a big way. Here's another shot. Wanted to show a bit of the bokeh going on here. You can really have fun with wide angle bokeh with this lens. It brings in like a new realm, sort of pseudo macro. It's like macro, but it isn't. So you come in close, you get your shot, but you still see the wideness of that shot. Another shot here that's very contrasty. Like if I wanted to test the sensor, I could go into the dynamic range and I can push this to see what it looks like. But this is just incredible. You know, you could frame just this part right here. What's great about Fuji sensors and processors is the type of noise that's introduced. It's actually very desirable and really nice. Another image with this pseudo macro type feel to it. Let it load. Let it load. Okay, why isn't it? Okay. Sometimes it's hard because when you're at shallow depth of field, like I probably put my focus point right here, and this is like maybe a ½ inch away from that, so we actually get that focused and this not focused. So, but it is tack sharp in focus where it was trying to focus, and it did a good job. This is in low light. I just wanted to check out and see what it looked like when I got really close to these bottles. This was at the circus school where I used to work. I don't know. To me, it's a great lens, guys. These are very good examples. I laid this on the table to take a shot, and I thought it looked great. And it's in a very dark room. This is a very dark room, and I can use my f1.4, man. I can use the f1.4 on this sucker right here. So it's f1.4. So there it is, guys. I just wanted to show you what the camera lens looks like and the quality of the images that come out of it. They are absolutely really nice. Remember that when you're working with Fuji and you're working with Fuji sensors, you can shoot a bit darker and push afterwards. You're just going to get some nice ass images. I'm just telling you that much. So take it away, Jacques, and finish off this video so you can say bye-bye. So that's it, guys. So there's the lens. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any opinions, any impressions on this lens, tell me what you think about it. Leave it below. And if you're thinking of getting it, I'm telling you right now, it's a fantastic lens. It costs a pretty penny. It's roughly in Canada in the $1,200 to $1,400 range, but it's worth every penny. You'll never get rid of it ever. If you stick to the Fuji system, you will never ever get rid of it just because of what it can give you.
Like, subscribe, and don't forget everybody, keep on making something from nothing.